Today we introduced the idea of compound interest, and this is one of the most realistic pieces of math you'll learn in this unit, because every time you open a bank account, compound interest is something that actually happens with your money. So here's our formula, where A is how much money is accumulating, so how much money is growing and being added into your account. P, the principal, is the original amount of money you put in your bank account. The interest rate is the interest rate. It will always be given to you as a percent, but when we use it in the formula, we do need to make sure we use the interest rate as a decimal when we plug it in up here. N, the compoundings per period I'm about to explain, and T is the number of periods. So over here we have Bank A, which will give a 5% interest rate compounded annually. So this is telling me how many compoundings per period. Annual means 1. So we're just going to have 1 period of compounding interest, okay? So A, the total amount in my bank account, will equal, and we're trying to figure out if I put $1,000 in the bank and leave it untouched for 1 year, how much money do I have depending on the bank I use? So now this bank, 5% interest, compounded annually, just once per year. So my principal is my original investment of $1,000 times 1 plus the interest rate as a decimal. 5% interest rate will be 0.05 divided by N, the number of compoundings per period. Bank A is compounding annually. Annual means once per year, so let's divide that by 1. Times, notice it's the same number, N. How many times am I compounding the interest? Annual is 1. It'll be 1 times T, the number of periods. In this case, it's the number of years, and I want to know after just 1 year. 1. Now we're set up to fully simplify. Go ahead and pause and see if you can figure this out on your own before we do it together. And we're back. Okay, so let's start simplifying. So this will equal 1,000 still, times 1 plus 0.05 divided by 1 is 0.05. 1 times 1 is 1. This one's a little bit easier since it's compounded annually, just 1's over here. Now let's keep going. Let's add up the inside here. 1 plus 0.05 is 1.05. And now I just have to do my principal times this interest rate here. So I'll do 1,000 times 1.05. And you now have $1,050 in your bank account. You started with 1,000. You ended with 1,050. So that additional 50 is the interest that the bank is just giving you for giving them your business. But now let's get a little more complicated. Okay, I'm going to delete this. Let's look at Bank B. We'll still give you a 5% interest rate, but now it's compounded quarterly. So compoundings per period is no longer 1, because quarterly sounds like quarters. There are 4 quarters in a dollar, or 4 quarters in a game if it has 4 periods. So that means 4. So let's set up the same thing. A will equal my principal, still my original investment, $1,000, times 1 plus the interest rate as a decimal, so still 0.05, divided by the number of compoundings per period. Since we compound this quarterly, we're going to divide it by 4 this time. And now same thing, whatever we're dividing the rate by is part of multiplying the exponent as well. So it will be times 4 up here, times how many years are we talking? We're still just talking 1 year. 1 year. So let's start simplifying. We're not going to do without 1,000 yet. We're going to do 0.05 divided by 0.4. Oh, sorry, just 4. So now we have 1 plus 0.0125. 4 times 1 is 4. Let's go ahead and add this up. 1 plus that. So 1,000 times 1.0125 to the 4th power. Now before we multiply to the principal this time, we have to take this interest rate and raise it to the fourth power. 1.0125 to the fourth. And you get a big old decimal. Craziness. Now, I'm going to be lazy. I'm not going to write all of that out. I'm going to see that's on my calculator. I'm just going to hit the multiply button because your calculator will automatically remember all of the decimals for you. And then you don't have to make a mistake by rounding too soon. So times 1,000 is equal to, you have $1,050.94. When we compounded the interest quarterly, we have 94 more cents than when we compounded once annually. So hopefully you're going to see when we come over here, we're going to compound monthly. Maybe we're going to get even more money in our bank account. Let's see what happens. Let's set it up. A is equal to the principal. Still my original investment is 1,000 times 1 plus the interest rate as a decimal. Bank C is giving a 5% interest rate compounded monthly. So we are still going to see 0.05 as our interest rate as a decimal. Divided by compounded monthly means 12 different times. So we're going to divide that by 12 times. Once again, how many times are we compounding? We're doing it monthly. 12 times t, the number of years, which is still, we're just looking at 1 year. Let's break it down. 1,000 times, you need to do that 0.05 divided by 12 now.